Why isn't Yuki interested in any romance and Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian? She's one of the most popular people at her school and tons of boys are interested in her. So it's a genuine question when I ask why she doesn't want to pursue her own romance and instead chooses to have a front row seat at her brother's slow burn. However, when you actually break it down, it's not as confusing as it seems. At first, it could seem like Yuki's responsibilities in the student council and running for president get in the way of her being able to pursue a relationship. But in my opinion, the fact that she still has time to binge anime and manga at home says otherwise. And I instead think she doesn't want a relationship for two reasons. One, nobody at her school actually knows the real her besides her brother. She constantly puts on a noblewoman facade in public, and anybody pursuing Yuki will most definitely be hit with shock as soon as they see the real her. So it presents some problems that everybody only knows one side of her. And second, she comes from a noble family where her significant other would most likely have to live up to the standards set by her grandfather, as the social status is very much something someone would have to consider, resulting in them most likely needing to become a diplomat, just like Kuze's dad. Did you know that in Mushoku Tensei, Galane's sword stands for something much more? It's part of a group called the Sword God's Seven Swords, and the way they are obtained is pretty interesting. As the name suggests, the swords are a group of the 7 best swords that the Sword God collects, and some swords have their own special traits or abilities. One example is the Phoenix Dragon Sword, which has tiny channels of mana running throughout the entire blade, and what that does is weaken or almost neutralize the opponent's battle aura, but its effectiveness depends on how strong their opponent's battle aura is. There are also some swords which don't even have any special abilities, or at least haven't been revealed to, and they kinda just look cool, like the sword Galane uses, which is called Flat Core, and it has no known ability, but it has a really cool black and red katana look to it. But I think what really makes the entire group of swords so interesting is how you get them, because they actually stand for something that's more than just being a sword, as they are a literal symbol of your strength and progress in the Sword God style, because the only way you can obtain them is being gifted them by the Sword God himself after you reach the rank of Sword King.
Does anyone have secret feelings for Gojo besides Marin and my dress-up darling? Gojo has interacted with several people outside of Marin ever since he started making cosplays, and one of them actually ended up catching feelings for him. This person could be one of Marin's friends from school, as they all became closer with Gojo during the school festival, but that isn't the case. This person is actually active in the cosplay community, and is even friends with Marin, despite finding some of her behaviors annoying and not going to the same school. They also have somewhat of a tsundere personality, as they tend to be very blunt, and they don't have a problem speaking the harsh truth to others. This person hates anything to do with horror and can get scared easily. They tend to only cosplay characters from kids' anime, and mainly only characters that match their build. However, sometimes they cosplay characters that their build doesn't fit. They also have a sibling involved in cosplay, and their sibling is one of the things they care about the most. Their sibling is also part of the reason they developed feelings for Gojo in the first place, as he treated them extremely kind, causing the person to call him wonderful. Gojo is also the first boy this person had ever held hands with, and it's Sajuna, who is the weakest sin out of the sins in the 7 deadly sins. Most of the sins are so strong they can destroy the strongest holy knight, but one of them can't. Starting off with the strongest sin, it is easily Meliodas. In his true magic form, he was able to one-shot the Demon King, and in his assault mode form, he is one of the strongest beings in the world. That form has a power level of 144,000, and his true magic form is believed to have a power level of 1 million. Next is Escanor during the day. He has a power level of 114,000, but it goes up way higher when he enters his The One and the One Ultimate form, where he is believed to have a power level of over 700,000. Vaughn is also one of the strongest due to his experience in Purgatory, making him extremely strong, although his power level is unknown, could be around 2 to 600,000. King has a power level of 416,000 after growing his wings, and he could fly at insane speeds and beat any enemy. Merlin was able to defeat Chandler and Cusack, making her one of the stronger sins and putting her power level at around 200,000. Diane's power level is likely around 50 to 100,000, as she was able to put up a good fight against the Demon King. Gauther has a power level of 35,000, but he's not the weakest. The weakest is Escanor at night. Did you know that in ReZero, there is actually a side story of Subaru getting summoned into the Mushoku Tensei world? After Subaru got to know Rudius, he would ask for his help in getting him back to his world. Rudius agreed to help Subaru, and would let Subaru join him on his way back to the Asura Kingdom. Shortly after that, Rudius would introduce Subaru to Ruijard and Eris, and he would think that Eris could be Rudius's lover, and that Ruijard was scary looking, but overall a nice guy. They then got started on their way to Asura, where they would arrive at the Red Dragon's mandible. While they were passing through, Eris and Ruijard would freeze up in fear, making Subaru and Rudius confused. The two of them would then look up to see Orsted. Orsted would be suspicious on why his curse wasn't affecting either of them, and he asked them if either of them knew of the man god. Both Rudius and Subaru said yes, and in an instant, Orsted would unalive the two of them. However, before Subaru was fully unalived, he saw the magic item he needed to return home on Orsted's sleeve. Did you know why Kuze wasn't invited to Alia's birthday party and Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian? They were friends long before Alia turned 15, and even though being invited to a birthday party was a show of friendship in Russia, for some reason, Alia still didn't invite him. However, in the light novels, this gets revealed. After Alia hung up the phone with Kuze, where she found out that she missed his birthday, she began overthinking about if they were really friends or not. It was then that she remembered that she also didn't invite him to her birthday party the year before, but she also recalled her embarrassing excuse as to why. To her, her birthday was an entirely different situation. This was because she genuinely wanted to invite him to her party, but since Kuze was her only friend, he'd be the only person there who wasn't a part of her family. On top of this, Kuze was a boy, and this made Alia scared that her family would tease her about it daily. So she decided not to invite him. What does it mean to be a hero in Sentence to be a hero? For many, it's been a fate described as worse than death. But what does it actually entail? And could they be freed from their sentence? When someone is sentenced to heroism, they are basically given eternal punishment. And it's considered the greatest form of criminal punishment there is, with the worst of the worst getting a hero's sentence. And it's why the Holy Knights are so disgraced to be saved by a hero. Because of their crimes, they are expected to stand on the front lines in the battle against the demon blight. And even if they are unalived, they will be forced to be resurrected and continue serving their sentence. However, each time they are resurrected, they lose a part of their memories and sense of self. And on the occasion where the hero's body couldn't be recovered or was too damaged for resurrection, the people who revived them would instead use what was left of them and put together a new body or put them into a different body entirely. But the condition of the body determined how well the revival process went. On top of this, the seals placed on a hero after sentencing ensured that they'd be stuck serving their punishment, because if a hero ever disobeyed their orders or failed the task that they were given, the seals would punish them until they were unalived, and then they would be resurrected. But despite all of it, there was a way to be freed of their eternal punishment, and that was to defeat every single demon lord and stop the spread of the blight.
Why did Ayanokoji let Nanase come with him during the island exam in Classroom of the Elite? He originally decided to take on the island exam alone, and when he had the opportunity to work with his classmates, he decided not to. But when Nanase asked to join him, he let her come with him. We know that a major reason he didn't join his classmates and went at it alone is because he knew that others would slow him down. And he even gave the same argument to Nanase when she asked to join him. But after she persisted, he let her join him, even when he still could have declined. And we do see it kind of hold him back later, as he was unable to go back to the starting area for more water because he was with her. Despite this, it's important to mention that Nanase is really athletic, with Ayanokoji thinking she could shortly move up to an A on her physical OAA score from her already high B+, so she wouldn't hold him back nearly as much as others. However, I don't think that would be enough to sway Ayanokoji's opinion, and there are other factors besides physical strength that can cause her to hold him back. Instead, I think he decided to let her join him because he's suspicious of her, as she has the special exam to expel him and she could be a potential White Room student, so by keeping her close, he can monitor her and keep himself safe.
What are Meliodas' true powers in the 7 deadly sins? Meliodas isn't just the captain of the 7 deadly sins, but might be the most powerful being in the verse. He was known across all clans as the most powerful demon alive, second only to his father. His strength was so great that when he left the demon clan, the balance of power between the demons and goddesses completely changed. Even when most of his power was stolen by Merlin, he was still over 10 times stronger than a normal holy knight. When his full power returned, the dark energy he absorbed covered the sky, and the shockwaves could be felt almost 100 kilometers away. His signature move, Full Counter, lets him reflect any magic attack back at the enemy with double the force, and his Hellblaze creates powerful black flames that can even stop immortals from healing. When he enters Assault mode, he becomes the same fearsome demon who once ruled over the commandments, powerful enough to crush Escanor and even fight the Demon King himself. After absorbing every commandment, Meliodas reached godlike power, broke the curse that trapped him and Elizabeth, and proved why he's one of the strongest characters in all of anime. Did you know that in Re:Zero, there is one thing that Reinhardt is worse at than everybody else, including Subaru? Several times throughout the story, it has been made clear that Reinhardt is undoubtedly the strongest character in the Re:Zero world. This is mostly because he has the ability to receive any divine protection he can think of, and also because he is so talented that he can outmatch anyone at almost anything. However, it was revealed that when he was born, Reinhard was born with a defective gait, which made it so that he was only able to absorb mana, but is unable to release it to cast spells. To avoid the accumulation of mana in his body eventually unaliving him, Reinhard instead uses the mana he accumulates to boost his physical attributes, making him stronger and saving his life. However, during a Q&A, the author of ReZero revealed that the one thing that Reinhard lacks that everybody else has is the ability to actually cast magic spells, and he states that Reinhard is actually completely unable to use magic, and that in terms of mana level, Reinhard is last by a large margin, even falling behind people like Subaru, Otto, and Petra. How did Ayanokoji not know what the average grip strength was in Classroom of the Elite? He comes from the White Room where they teach the students almost everything they would ever need to know. So why did he have to ask Pseudo what the average grip strength was? At the very least, Ayanokoji learned about anatomy and biology in the White Room, meaning he'd know about different muscle groups, how they function, and how strong each of them were. Ayanokoji himself knew the 2 individual muscles that contributed to grip strength the most, and he knew a rough estimate of how high a person's grip strength can be. So it's obvious his knowledge on the topic is vast. On top of this, his body was trained to be insanely strong, so knowing the average of any physical metric could prove to be useful. It is almost certain that Ayanokoji wasn't putting on an act and pretending he didn't know the grip strength because he was somewhat surprised when Harada said his grip strength results were stronger than the average. It could be because the White Room doesn't want its students to know any averages because they want their students to be the absolute best, and knowing an average can lower the students' expectations, but that's probably not the case. It's probably because the White Room wants to create geniuses, and data that's super specific isn't important enough to teach.